T-minus 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, space nerds, how you doing? Welcome to the Launch Sequence Podcast, another week of lovely space talking. And you're gonna have to forgive me. You can see my eyes are red. It's a little late. I'm a little tired, but we are here to chat. MrKraken has joined me today, the maker of probably the best guides in Star Citizen, I would say, and some of the best infographics I've ever seen for a video game. And we're here to talk about the new update, the new locations, the new ship, and how you groom that magnificent beard. Welcome, though. Thank you for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Busy, especially setting a precedent for making ASD maps. I wish I hadn't have done that.
Yeah, that is... We're going to talk about these maps and infographics today because they constantly impress me, and I feel like everybody is looking... A lot of people are looking to you now. As soon as a patch goes to live, they're like, how do I do this stuff? Oh yeah, MrKraken, you can probably show me.
Not even when it goes to live.
Yeah, it's the PTU. People are already asking.
As soon as it goes to all waves.
And this patch went to all waves really quickly.
Yeah, on the first build.
Yeah, that was... I can't believe they wanted to go from Evocati to all... Wasn't it Evocati to all waves in a day they wanted to do?
So it was the same build. It was the first build. But, I mean, it makes sense because they just wanted to hammer it. And I get the feeling that they decided to move a lot of stuff to 4.3.1 so they could get the freight elevator fixes into 4.3 and get 4.3 done.
I was thinking that.
It makes sense. But...
Yeah. I mean, if you put it in Evocati or even in like the first wave for too long, then by the time everybody else gets access, it's old news. We move too fast. Everything's boring.
Also, they don't get the concurrency.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we are going to get into some pretty deep details there, but first I would like to give you a chance to talk to the people about kind of what you do when it comes to Star Citizen content and where they can find your stuff before we even get started.
Hello, I'm MrKraken. I make straight to the point guides in video form, and I make one-page guides. However, for the latest location, that's more going to be a coffee table book rather than a one-page. Be one of those little books you get in a magazine, in the magazine rack of a dentist waiting surgery.
I would love to read about ASD at the dentist.
Just have a little law book in there with maps and things like that. No, not that extreme yet. Maybe if they put me on payroll. But I try and make guides as concise as possible and not treating people like babies or, extending for however long. I also mainly focus on PTU because live is pain. If there's an event, as in a time-limited event, not an activity that someone has called an event. Thought you might like that one. Then obviously I'll be on live, but most of the time I'm on PTU and trying to find bugs and workarounds to share with people as best as possible.
And you are MrKraken on YouTube, correct? Just like it's.
I am, yes. So I thought I'd said that. However, it's been a long day for me as well.
Sorry about that.
MrKraken on YouTube, at real MrKraken pretty much everywhere else, but I don't really do much other than Twitter and Facebook. YouTube. Long day. It's going well so far.
Yeah, no, we're on it. It's like I said, folks, it's nighttime, man. We're trying to hang out. We're trying to relax. MrKraken has had the laughs with the event stuff is because he's been seeing my latest hill to die on. I've moved on from quantum and quanta to now defining the name for events. And honestly, I no longer want to die on that hill. I'm over it. I'm done with it. Who cares what it's called? This update is bringing some new location / events / dungeon / not dungeon / sandbox activity / not cooperation zone, whatever it is. And we're going to talk at length today about how they've gone. We've been talking about it over the last couple of episodes, but now we've had plenty of time to actually dive into it, to experience it. And I did want to bring somebody with very good knowledge of the locations. And as you mentioned, you're making maps about them. So I think there's not much of a better choice to be had. But I thought we should start out with some ship discussion. And the latest ship has been one that we've kind of been excited for a lot of the year after showing some concept art earlier on. But now we know where they're moving forward with this ship. It's the new Kruger Intergalactic, and it's been somewhat revealed on the PTU loading screen. What are your thoughts on what they're proposing with this one?
Look, I will be completely honest. As soon as I saw those concepts and saw Concept A that looked like a karambit knife-inspired light fighter, I was already sold. The fact that they've done away with that ring at the back and basically merged A and G, not a problem. Depending on price point, that'll be the stickler. And how it stacks up, you can't really say much other than aesthetically about it until you see how it stacks up compared to, Arrow, Hornet, things like, well, maybe not Hornet, but the rest of the class.
Yeah.
And it'll stand out. Now, just to be real, and because you will probably get comments like this on the places where you get comments, yes, it will probably be great for the first patch that it's out, and then it'll be balanced. Because it always happens and tends to go in line with when it falls off the store. Yes. But aesthetically, it's a Sunday drive kit car. I'll be flying about in it. I can see it appearing a lot in low fly videos.
Oh yeah.
I don't know whether you follow people like Kyosa, but I imagine they will be thoroughly enjoying taking that around Daymar and places like that at very low altitude.
I think so. I think not only is it going to be, I bet you that we're going to see some like exotic car sort of trailers, kind of like cinematics made in game, because this looks like one of, if not, I don't want to say best looking ships they've made in this class, because everybody's feelings, everybody has different opinions and it's all subjective. But in terms of, forgive me for describing a spaceship this way, but like a sexy spaceship, I don't think they've gone as hard on a ship like they have with this. It maybe something like an Origin, how they tried to advertise the 600i or the Razor, the MISC Razor. They kind of went in that direction. But this one is definitely one of those, ooh, look at how nice these curves are. Slow pans, lights flickering on kind of look. And it's a really nice looking ship. I'm wondering if we're going to see a racing variant or something of it at some point.
Don't give them ideas. But, I mean, Kruger, this is their first ship, blah, blah, blah. That dash looks like a Bugatti with the clock in the middle, and then you got the chrome dials either side that we saw in the sneak peek last week. It's got that luxury feel to it inside and out, but it's got bite. And if it doesn't sound like, a big V8 mixed with a Ferrari 458 and with that whine, then it'll just be disappointing. But I imagine they're going to smash the audio side of it as well. That'll be the main thing that sells it in the trailer.
I would want this. I think from the looks, I would want it to sound like the Lexus LFA. That thing.
Yep, no, I get that.
Oh my gosh. I still remember the commercial for that car, and I think it's still the most amazing sound I ever heard of a car. It looks good. I won't be picking one up. I'll certainly be grabbing one from somebody else at some point. But I do think that this thing is going to sell like hotcakes. I saw somebody's comment on the subreddit, actually. They were like, what did they say? Something along the lines of like, I'm not saying I'm going to buy it or anything, but oh my gosh, this makes me almost forget about freight elevators. I'm like, Star Citizen community. They were like, we got to rush this concept through, guys. Let's just get this fixed. The game's having trouble. Come on, we got to get this one out in August. Yeah, it's a very nice looking ship. It is once again a combat ship, and honestly, I think most of the ships they've been coming out with have been pretty combat focused ships. Do you think? Oh, yep, somebody just posted that exact GIF in the supporter chat on the side. That is it. And now I'm gonna get a whole bunch of comments about how I just pronounced that word. But yeah, that's the commercial. That's the look.
At least you called it. I was about to.
Do you
But yeah,
think that
no.
they're doing too much combat stuff?
See, I saw this on your list of maybe questions, and I thought, meh. It's one of those things that what else are they gonna do right now? It feels like combat ships are we can just do those. We know what we're doing with those sort of thing. And I imagine salvaging, mining, those things. They've got the big ship, they've got the Arastra, all of that stuff in pipeline somewhere. They've probably the unannounced stuff, that one about the cargo grid failing or reworking the cargo mechanic. That intrigues me. That if it's got a different mechanic to what we've already seen with cargo, I'm intrigued. But that just resorting to making combat makes a bit of sense for the point of view of they need to keep generating money. And the last time they tried something alternative like blades, that was, yeah.
Yeah, well, don't do that. You guys can
not
sell
entirely
ships.
sold on the patch bundle stuff. Just keep selling chips.
You know what I
Uh,
dislike about the blades commentary is that people believe that because nobody's talking about blades or components going on the store that suddenly nobody cares about them. But that's just not true. Like it would be just as big a problem. I mean, I think it still is something that's in the back of everyone's minds. It's like, okay, this is probably still going to happen to some extent, and people are just sort of waiting to see what they're going to try and do with it. But yeah, selling ships is one thing, and I do believe I agree with you that they got to keep money coming in. That was the whole point of this year, right? Keep people playing, keep content coming out, keep people's eyes on the game, and ships releasing. At this point, they are approaching or around 13 ships released this year at only 8 months into the year. Is it too much?
Again, when I saw the list of questions, I thought, maybe. Personally, it doesn't bother me because I don't spend that much. I build CCU chains. I eventually get the ship. I'm not too bothered. But that's even if I want the ship. Like the Meteor, don't care. And I know that'll break Jared's heart, but I really don't care. All I wanted was for the paints for the Meteor to work with the Mantis, and they don't. So
yeah, I don't like that.
Don't care.
Does that bug you, or you just kind of don't care?
It does, yeah. Something clear cut. All right, it might not be that clear cut, but they did zhuzh up the Mantis at the same time they did the Meteor. So I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't make the paints transferable, because the Mantis has got 2-3 paints. It's got the Pirate Week paint, and then it's got the 2 that are on the store from memory. There might be more that were time limited or whatever, but yeah, with all of the paints that the Meteor got, very disappointing that they didn't go to the Mantis. With something like the Asgard and the Valkyrie, kind of understand that, because other than a little bit of an interior tweak, obviously the extension of the Asgard compared to the Valkyrie, it's a completely different ship, even though it's not. Kind of understand that one, but the Mantis, disappointing.
Yeah, the Mantis.
As for the actual original question about the amount of ships, it is what it is.
Are you worried about like balancing potential, or just them getting a little too distracted trying to make each ship unique?
There's no point in even discussing balance. It's
as they balance light fighters in preparation for the Kruger Wolf.
Yeah. The Kruger Wolf that will outshine them, as I already said, that will probably outshine them for the patch that it arrives. And
it'll definitely outshine them aesthetically.
I see what you did there.
Ah.
But yeah, I mean, 13 is a lot, but it's at the same time could be worse. They could have all been very expensive ships rather than them coming out and people going, "Oh, that's actually not too bad." And
Yeah.
then you get something like the Meteor that people or the Prowler utility, and it's like,
Yeah.
But
And all
we'll see what the rest of the year brings in terms of new ships.
to be honest, the rest of the year seems like it's going to be more hyped, given the ship selection that's coming. And it's not just like cool ships. They're also putting a decent dent into the backlog right now, which is, I think, a lot of people probably appreciate.
Not the backlog that I want a dent in, though.
So they're not also all the ships aren't actually all for sale too. I want to make sure that disclaimer is clear to everybody. The Icti, for instance, is not available in the game shop by any means. It's just earnable in the game, and I do think that makes a difference for some people, whether it's cash purchase and it seems like a money grab, or if it's just something that seems like it's being added to the game as part of the game.
Yeah, you've got to love the swing of the community, though, of, they've said they're not going to sell the Icti, but they will. No, they said they won't, so they won't. And then, I mean, they should have done. I personally, if I was in marketing, I would have gone, we need to sell it. It's going to sell.
I feel like the marketing folks may have had a couple opportunities to get slapped this year and be like, no, not this one. Please.
But just you get outrage if they sell something. You get outrage if they don't sell something. I love it.
It's all outrage all the way down. And then you know what? That's how we thrive, man. Outrage is how I sweat off all my worries. It's like, I had a bad day. Let me just rage a little bit.
It could be worse.
And I'm better now. What did you do? Spaceship? Ah! Makes me feel
if you're
bad.
having a bad day, it could be worse. You could be a Star Citizen backer.
Which ship besides this beautiful looking new, what seems to be single person combat ship, what are you looking forward to? You mentioned the cargo feature on the one in the monthly report. Is that the most interesting thing to you now, ship related?
No, but I am intrigued because they specifically mentioned its cargo mechanic. I just want to know what that mechanic is.
Right.
And how different it is from what we've got, what size it is. It opens up a lot of questions for someone with a brain like mine. Just want to know what it is.
It is interesting though, because like some rumors or some speculation is that it might be the new CNOU ship we've seen in the silhouettes. But ultimately, when you mentioned earlier, like what would they do in terms of a ship? Yes, small combat ships do kind of make sense. But how would the community react if they introduced a small cargo ship? I do feel like a lot of people would be like, what's the point of this? I already have a raft. I have a C2. I have a hull A. I have a hull C. What's the point of another small cargo ship that I can't actually do large cargo missions with?
Do you mean like the Prowler utility?
Oh. Look at that.
That came in, and a lot of the comments were, it's only, I can't even remember what the SU was now. I wasn't pledging for that.
I think it's 2/8.
32.
32?
I think it was 32. But yeah, that shines as a smuggler, small thingy runner, but not a big money-making contract thing, unless you're doing the pyro run for a very specific commodity. But here's the thing. Because they're doing the focus on server stability, content, getting all these missions in using existing stuff this year, we haven't got the game loops that we've been waiting for ages, the updated bounty, all of that stuff. And we're stuck spinning our wheels like we are quite a lot of the time. Just, we've got the same game loops that we've had for a while. If they really wanted to wow in terms of ship sales, which they're not really hurting for if you look at the sales tracker for this year.
Yeah, they're doing well.
Really not hurting. Almost as if delivering content every month drives sales. Who'd have thought?
Crazy.
Shocker. But yeah, if we had data running, my Herald, it had a little bit of love a couple of months ago, and I thought, oh, we're getting somewhere. Nope.
Little teaser.
Little teaser. But the hacking stuff, data running, bounty hunting, and even now with, I don't know whether you've seen, but in Onyx we've got the bounty casket.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't actually seen that, but I've heard rumors.
Oh, it's there and it floats.
Still waiting for your guide to figure out, where that is or how to use it.
Don't be one of them. No. But if they brought in all of the lovely new jobs, or new, they're old at this point, but that we still don't have them, which is kind of strange. When they come in, then they've got much more choice in what they can do ship wise. But given what the content is at the moment, they've not got many options. So again, the defaulting to combat ships and possibly cargo ships is kind of inevitable.
Yeah, I think you're kind of on to something there, that like a lot of the frustration that gets brought out on ships coming out is actually because features aren't coming out. And if we saw features, and if we saw the feature development of, I can't pick a year because we haven't seen a real big year for feature development in Star Citizen, but if we saw that combined with the content development of this year, and we could just fantasize a little bit, folks. Just join me up in the clouds as we think scanning, bounty hunting V2, engineering, I don't know, reputation getting an update, smuggling becoming realistic. All those things come into the year alongside the content we've been getting. I don't think people would be as bothered by the amount of ships.
No, I mean, Star Citizen would become a juggernaut if they managed to pull that off.
Yeah.
Let's manage expectations, though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that won't be the case for a very long time, if ever. I just to be honest and brutally real about it, is until Squadron 42's out the door, it's not even, a thing to include in the picture. But even after that, we've got more chapters of Squadron 42 that they're going to be working on, apparently.
Nah, don't give them that ammunition, man. I genuinely don't think the amount of success that Squadron would need to see for them to just turn straight to a sequel, I hope in their mind is very high. Because sequels aren't, you got to be real good to start a franchise like that nowadays.
This is an entirely different level of conversation that
yeah, we're getting into the Squadron conversation. I was just listening to Captain's Table yesterday, one of my favorite Star Citizen podcasts, and I was with Mrs. Tomato, and every time something came up where somebody was like, why isn't this happening, why isn't that happening, I would just lean over to her and whisper. I'd be like, Squadron. Every time. It's just it comes from that dark corner in your room that you never want to go towards. Squadron, it's here. Why isn't this happening?
This will be completely lost on people listening, but just flash a card every time.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I've got
just
you.
Have it on a paddle ready to go.
It's always around. Get out of here. Leave me alone. Oh God. It causes violence wherever it goes. Okay, back to the ships. So besides just the way or the number of ships that are coming out this year, they've also started to release in a different way. Instead of just immediately going to the ship store as people would expect, sometimes they take a little bit of a loop around and they are earned in-game via Wikelo, which has, unfortunately, he's just besmirched his name. I don't think he'll ever be allowed in Stanton after we move away from it. But we do still see ships coming to the ship shops after that level of exclusivity in Wikelo's bag of fun. Do you think that they're still making a mistake in the way that they're doing this? Are they creating some animosity where there doesn't need to be some, or do you think they're testing something that's really crucial and they have to do it this way?
No, I will probably be burned at the stake for this, but I do not engage with the Wikelo mechanic whatsoever. Can't stand it. Don't care. Any ships that are coming, if they only ever go to Wikelo, which we know they won't because one day you'll be able to craft them. If they go to Wikelo only, then I don't care about that ship enough. The reason they're doing it this way is because they want people engaging with the content. I doubt it's anything greater than that. And they have always said earnable in game. Ships will be available in game. Doesn't mean ships will be in the ship shop. And again, in the monthly report, there's a new ship seller coming. What form that will take, we don't know. But maybe they were holding off on certain ships, so they are only sold by this ship seller that's coming. Maybe it's a wandering ship seller that only appears on Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
God, that'll
just
drive
rocks
people
around
nuts.
in a Kraken privateer.
That will drive people nuts, man. Why don't you engage with Wikelo? Because you just don't like the gameplay that is encouraged by it?
Nope. So like the locations, the events and stuff like that, activities, events, anything that revolves around Wikelo, don't mind the locations, don't mind the activities, don't mind the events. But just the level of time wasting to get that one thing in game, I don't want it enough. Like
Yeah, I get it.
The look of the armor when it first came in, when we first heard about it, before the Emporium opened up. I'm talking when Wikelo was first in PTU, and the Emporium doors were closed for so many builds. But we'd heard, obviously, we'd seen the contracts for this armor. I think it was the not Clawed Steel, like make Navy armor.
Yeah, it was like they had the horns and stuff Navy. Hanging off it.
But no, it was actually, it might have been Clawed Steel. Or was that the IE bundle? I get confused.
God, I don't know.
But the contract was make armor Navy. And I was thinking, UEE Navy? No.
Navy blue?
If it was UEE branded stuff, which wouldn't make much sense, I suppose, for Wikelo, but then maybe I would have gone for it. The Copian vinyl wrapped weapons.
Yeah.
Don't care. the banner, Anna armor. Don't care. The ships. There's XX hangers if you really want to do that loop as well. And they might eventually come to the store, to the sellers in the verse, like Area 18 and Lawville. Or I've got enough ships. It doesn't matter. I think
that's most people's answer. It's like I've collected them all. Pokemon.
Yeah, there's an option for it. But I suppose if people really like the look of the Wikelo stuff, like the new armor coming in 4.3, there are people that really like the snow armor that Wikelo does in trade for the ASD, for the Geist armor. Whereas someone like me, I want everything ASD branded. So I'm happy
wearing
to
an ASD shirt. Okay, but
I love everything about ASD. It's a whole thing.
That's saying something, man, because they're currently being investigated for their experiments. Which company?
I live in Lawville. Hurston's my employee.
I was just going to ask, which company is worse, Hurston or ASD?
No, not the company ASD. Just, a small subsection of mad scientists.
You kind of just like, I'm only interested. Yeah, I only like the spaceships Amazon makes, not like all the employees that they also absolutely ruin in their factories. We don't think about that part.
Who needs bathroom breaks anyway?
Yeah, or hands. This reminds me of Elysium. That was Elysium, right? That was Matt Damon gets all messed up and has to go and get the exoskeleton and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, dude. Where's that storyline in Star Citizen? That's perfect. That fits perfectly in there.
It'll come when we get the exosuit, the proper exosuit.
Right.
The
You're
Titan.
like, you have to go do work for the Hurston Workers Union, and then you go through an accident, and they're like, okay, now you got to earn your way out of the city. Trapped
See,
here.
at least they're honest in Hurston.
That's true. I love killing honesty. Or murderous honesty, I guess we could call it. All right. Let's talk about the main part of 4.3. Or actually, before we get into that, I want to talk about it. So the main part is the underground facilities and the things associated with them. But before we jump into that, let's actually talk about the other stuff that's been added this year first. Sandbox activities, locations, events, whatever you guys want to call them. I've got a thesaurus for it. But these are locations that have kind of been drawing a lot of attention to them for their marketing. And I'm wondering, do you feel like CIG is purposely nerfing these old locations, these sandbox activities, making them not as interesting after they've released and had their time in the sun? Or do you think that it's just kind of the natural cycle of them? Like, are they trying to push new ones so that and make sure the old ones don't seem as interesting anymore?
No, I wouldn't have said that. So let's be honest. They've always done this, but because we're getting monthly patches, people are noticing it more. It's every new location that's been added gets a big bit of razzmatazz to start with, and then peters out. How long was Ghost Hollow broken and then completely broken with 4.0? It's nothing to do with they're deliberately or just by whatever doing anything to the previous ones. It's just that they make so much of a fanfare of the new stuff that the main reason for it is they want people to engage with the content. They want people pledging because they're playing. It's the whole thing. It's like I still regularly go to Hathor and Lazarus. I don't do the full loop, but I'm a loot goblin, so I go around.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yep, get the loot. Maybe have a little fight or two. Maybe avoid a fight or two, which is my preferred style of PvP, by just being aware of my surroundings. And then obviously the new thing comes in, everybody flocks to it, then peters off. Always happened, but we're seeing it really concentrated at the moment because we're getting location, event, location, event, location, event going through. Or maybe event, location, location. I can't remember which order it went in now. But it's one of those things that they need to keep moving forward. And it's something that I tried to explain to certain people that have been saying, oh, there's been no hotfix this week. They've probably expended all the dev time they can on hotfixes for freight elevators, and this is why they're focusing on 4.3 and want to get it out of the door, because, as far as I'm aware, they work agile, which I do too in my professional life, and so they have to work to ticket sizing. If it's too many story points, they can't do a hotfix. It needs to go into a release. It's just the way the framework works. So this is what makes me think that they've pushed a lot of the cuddly zones. That's my own pet name for cooperative zones, even though they're
cuddly zones.
They've pushed that to 4.3.1 just so they can get those fixes out and extend the event into 4.3. They're not ignoring people with things like that. They know. They're acutely aware. And every time they have messed up a patch, they've tried to hotfix it. Not every time they have, but every time that they have, they've always addressed it. It's not like it just gets left to rot. And that's one of the main things that I've been seeing is, they're just focusing on 4.3. Yeah, because at least 4 freight elevator fixes have gone into 4.3 this week. So, of course, they're focusing on it because they want to get it out with the fixes for you to finish the event. But that's what takes the priority. So like fixing things that aren't a massive deal with Hathor or with Pharaoh or Lazarus, they slip into the backlog, but the sideline backlog, not the backlog of like ships and things like that, because they've got their release dates, they've got their ticket sizing, they need to focus on things that affect the majority of players. And if people aren't engaging with Hathor, it's the vicious cycle. If people aren't engaging with it, then it doesn't hit that priority criteria of
Right.
it's a hot button topic, it needs to be fixed. But then if it's so broken that people can't play it, but then they give up trying to play it because it's broken, then it just drops and drops and drops. It's annoying. It's weird to people that don't work Agile or haven't witnessed the, depending on the company, the ineptitude of Agile.
Or weren't around here for the release of cargo decks. Like, let me introduce you to something that gets support dropped. They didn't even have a need, like a reason for cargo decks. And they're still just sitting there. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yep.
This is something they have done for quite a while. Do you think it's unsustainable? Like, are they driving to a bad point?
No, unfortunately, it's entirely sustainable, and I've seen it in my professional life as well. It's entirely sustainable to deliver something, leave it, and move on to the next thing because someone has decided that this needs to be done rather than that. And then that poor thing just gets left until it doesn't. And then they have a quiet month where they need to find tickets and they just pile everything in. Because I'm not saying this is the case with Star Citizen CIG, but from personal experience, when the executive hasn't got any crazy new ideas and they need to put a release out, that's when stuff gets pulled out of the backlog because the people under the managers have gone, we can finally do this.
I mean, I don't think that's a crazy stretch to say with CIG. We just had Sean Tracy up on stage at Quantum Vegas saying that, like, it is a tech-driven company, and when they see something that's happening in the industry, they will try to match it if they think it fits the game. And it's like a pretty common joke when people are like, "Oh, don't let Chris play this game. He's gonna." I remember still when he mentioned that he was playing Valheim with his kids, and he was like, "Yeah, the way that crafting works in this game, it seems like something that we would want to incorporate that way." A few years later, crafting is suddenly a huge topic. I'm not saying that's why it was. I think there probably has always been an expectation that crafting would be in this game in some way, but I can definitely see that happening where, like, there are things that come up that they realize will better the game that don't necessarily have to do with repairing the old stuff. Is that on the community? Is that the community's fault that stuff does not stay in the limelight for CIG to feel the pressure to fix it?
No, I think it's going to happen regardless. I think the only thing the community are responsible for is enabling them. That's
Buying ships.
Stop spending if you want things to change.
And I personally, I don't buy ships. Like, I don't really have a need. If anything, I feel like the buying of the ships is kind of the point. I want to play later. I want to earn the ships. So I do think that it can be
there's lots of people just like you as well. Yeah. There's people that don't. There's people that don't subscribe. They literally just have their starter package. Granted, they are probably the minority, given the active player
I don't
base,
even just have a starter package. That's self-control.
That's crazy talk. Yeah, I know. But I mean, all sorts of people, and I don't think they've painted themselves into a corner, and I don't think that they will. These locations, the whole point is that they eventually end up as contract locations to draw or to pull people in that direction, especially with the new locations. But even for Hathor, maybe not so much Lazarus, but Pharaoh definitely could see a lot more contracts going there. But like Hathor had and still has, as far as I'm aware, I haven't checked this build or this patch, sorry. But Hathor has contracts that task you to pick up datatrine, and if you remember what that is, supply or die, datatrine. It's still got that contract, and that contract didn't even work on PTU. It never got fixed. It never worked, and it's still there.
That's kind of funny. They have mercenary missions that send you there too.
Also there. Yeah, so the mercenary missions that take you to the OLPs to clear out the paths, and I think there are bounty ones to the OLP as well.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you've got mercenary missions that take you to Pharaoh and Lazarus. With Lazarus, I think it's just the transit hub from memory.
That's intense.
But with Onyx, with these new locations, there's investigation, there's hauling, there's mercenary. And I mean, given the size of the places, there will eventually be more. It's just inevitable. With the whole contract distribution system that they're currently watching intently to make sure that it's working so that you don't pile up with people being sent to the same location.
Mm-hmm.
That distribution system, coupled with a lot more contract types, like when hacking comes in, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all right, when it comes in. You've got servers there, you've got consoles there. Get your data running sorted out. But then I'm just so happy that investigation missions are back. It's my jam.
Yeah.
Not having a hand-holding marker, just finding the thing and then it pops up and goes, here's the thing you're looking for. The searching bodies, things like that. But although that does now make me think about distribution centers, may they rust in peace.
Well, there's another location. Do you think, because this is the most interesting angle that I can think of, like underground facilities and distribution centers are basically introduced together, and now we see them as two separate locations. Do you think that we're going to see them come back together? Like maybe these underground facilities will lead into actual more put together facilities that are connected to distributions, or do you think it's just a permanent separation at this point?
But this is the thing. I really hope they don't waste all of that time, because we even had a complete special ISC about the depths of the distribution centers.
Yup.
With the designer running around in white, is he the white or grey box? I think it was white box. It was far too unfinished to be white box. Yeah. But the elevator going down, the little side person elevator going down, the amount of work that got done on it, I really hope that they do circle back around to them, because I love distribution centers, and the amount of contracts that they originally had, diversity of contract, that you could just stay in that location if you were bored of moving boxes from the ground up to the lobby or to the FOB a couple of kilometers away. You could take a search contract or an investigation contract, mercenary contract, bounty contract, all in the same location. That's the one thing that annoys me the most, is that they haven't come back. The mercenary contracts are still there for the outside and the inside, but for the mercenary contracts inside, there's been a bug that's been there the whole time. Go into the storeroom, you finish your contract, you step out of the storeroom volume, and you are instantly trespassing, and your ship gets destroyed if you haven't stowed it in the hangar.
What the heck?
Oh,
I hate that.
Distribution centers.
The distribution center saga is not as embarrassing as the cargo decks since they actually got used, but man, like I guess it's the kind of thing that probably would have been better brought in after server meshing in a situation like this, where they could just add a bunch of locations and really they can more easily control NPCs. But I think it really hurts a lot of people. I think that hurts the perception a lot of people have of what they're going to do with locations, because they made these massive places, like you said, with all these different approaches and areas, and it seems almost like a hero location for the game. And now they don't even get a mention.
Do you remember the menu screen background when they brought distribution centers in?
Yeah. It was the ships
My
flying
opinion,
in, right?
So you had the distribution off in, it was like Twilight distribution center, and then you had vehicle and person up front with beautiful lighting, ships flying over the top. It was, in my opinion, the best background they've ever had for the menu. I'm not a fan of the Pyro Stanton jump gate one that we've currently got. The not Vortex. Word has escaped me, but the distribution center one was my favorite.
Yeah.
Again, possibly because I love the location so much, but yeah, very, very disappointing to see them fall by the wayside, and hope that they get picked up again soon.
Do you think that they are hurting the game or helping the game more by releasing these patch trailers, and instead of doing a trailer that shows everything that's coming in the update, they kind of just make a trailer for the new location, which makes everybody sort of just get tunnel vision on the new location and think, well, this is what the whole patch is about, and it kind of takes away from the focus of everything else and makes it seem more like, well, if that stuff is old, nothing else from that update has really persisted, and all they're trying to do is put these locations in. Is that hurting the game more?
I could see how someone would perceive it that way. I am not the person to ask on that front, because I am so connected to everything going on with the patch because of Evocati, and being every build, I'm there testing, issue cancel, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Making guides and stuff. I actually read patch notes. I know that's a bizarre concept for many people.
Dude, you read?
I know.
Whoa.
I don't even ask GPT to summarize it for me. I actually read them.
What? You think for yourself?
Don't use AI.
Oh man.
I know.
I'm joking, by the way, guys. I know you read. It's okay. It's not an insult.
No, there are many people that don't read patch notes because, I mean, a lot of the time there's a lot of shadow things patched anyway. So that's why there are some creators who love making shadow patch note videos.
You turn them into pictures for us in infographics. Why do I need to read anymore?
Damn, I'm the problem. Bye.
You're the problem, dude. You've done it. You're the CIG shill in sheep's clothes.
But yeah, I fully understand anybody that thinks, oh, well, this is just what's in it, when it's not. Honestly, though, I would read the patch notes, or at least find someone that goes through patch notes in a way that you like in terms of a creator, and don't just focus on what the trailer does. But they are very flashy, they are very good, and the team do an excellent job of focusing people on the activities, let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean,
or whatever the big marquee thing is for the patch.
They have managed to basically make an update. I mean, I don't mean to bring this up, but they make the update feel like the event. Somebody today told me that, like, they introduced the Hathor facilities, and with that they introduced this Align and Mine thing, and now it's gone.
That was just the name of the patch.
Yeah,
but
that's what they do.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, Stormbreaker, Align and Mine, they do this marketing.
And now 4.3 officially has a name as of last night's build, Dark Territory.
Really?
Yeah.
An interesting
4.3
name for it.
Dark Territory.
I feel like they should have said something about underground.
I mean, dark, the Underdark from D&D, things like that. It is. I still haven't been on last night's build because I was working all day. So
now I stole you away.
I still haven't seen the latest lighting pass that's been done down there. But if people are trying to avoid spoilers for the places and actually enjoy experiencing things for the first time, you're in for a treat. And if you're not, and you prefer to have someone make a guide for you, hello there.
He's your man. Why are they in for a treat? Is this in any way significantly different from other places we've gotten in the game?
I would very much say so. Just the environments themselves is two very different environments to start off with, and we're going to get a third in 4.3.1. The two wings, engineering and research, they are vast, but in different ways. So engineering is big and cavernous, as well as having an epic visual at the end of the run.
Holy crap! Yeah.
I also have my theory about the puzzles that will end up being in 4.3.1.
It's like
but,
it is one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen them put into this game, and the way that you interact with it is also probably one of the cooler things I've seen in any game.
It's very, it's not Destiny, but it's along those lines of Destiny. You know, that where you go through this tight little corridor first of all, and then you go out into this grand space, and you get the awesome feeling.
Yeah.
That was what Bungie did very well with Destiny 2 content, was like something like Deepstone Crypt. Going out, hearing Deepstone Lullaby, running out on the gantry, getting the EVA sound effect. So you got the no atmosphere. Oh, CRG are going that way. And I know I wasn't expecting huge things when I first went on PTU. Wow. Even I was shocked by how much they managed to pull off. And that was just build 1, where things were still half done or not had a polish pass. And it's been really great seeing the wider community experience build 1 and then what they say about the polish passes since. Because normally that's just an Evocati thing. By the time it gets to like wave 1, a lot of the polish has already been done. So a lot of people are experiencing that for the first time as well, if they're on PTU. And I love seeing it.
Yeah, I don't even
experience what we get all the time.
I don't even jump into Evocati very often, and for this one, I definitely got in on that first day. And it was funny because both of my experiences were like, I ran in, I got stuck in a place, I died. I respawned at the planet, I spent 20 minutes getting back, I got stuck in the same place and died. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait for the next build, and I'm glad I did because it was much better put together, like you were saying. But yeah, it has a nice epic feel to it in engineering, and you are absolutely right about them being, one feels horizontally big, the other one feels vertically big, and they just have different vibes of how they want you to move through them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes me think even more about what exactly are we going to get in Wing 3? And how do we get there? I have a theory.
Yeah, I haven't gone through most of the puzzles and stuff yet, so I don't even know where this is leading.
So the puzzles don't work.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
I've got a feeling they won't until the Cuddlies... I've done it again. Until the cooperative zones are in. Excuse me, listen.
The ASD cuddly zones. It just doesn't really make sense, does it?
The ASD cutesy zones. But no, I've got a feeling that the puzzles won't work until that is in. And I've got a feeling, just because of what I think the puzzles end up doing, is that's why they will be... It'll go a lot easier if you have a group to pull it off. But yeah, they seem relatively straightforward and logical. But with timing or whatever they do with the puzzles, there's quite a lot to do, and depending on the time frame, you might not have a lot of time to do it, and then obviously get to the end point.
What would you say is the best part of these locations compared to things that we've seen from other content additions in the game?
The fact that there's investigation contracts there.
I mean, that is really nice, because that's one of the things people have wanted since 4.0 came out. Just bring back the investigations. Not quite Covalix level, but, you know, getting there.
Oh, we don't mention Covalix now. So, just a little sidetrack, I apologize. But originally, on PTU, some of the new contracts have you grab, you know, like a small handheld item that you had to deliver back to the low orbit station using Covalix kiosks. And anybody that remembers how that used to go before we stopped seeing those contracts, yeah, It went the same, and now they're delivered to freight elevators in your personal hangar instead.
You talking about those little box lockers that we used to have to use for the?
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my god!
Remember delivery missions to outposts, and then there being no marker, or there being a marker under the floor. The kiosk wouldn't open. Yeah, that's still a thing, and I think even the developers had Kovalex kiosk PTSD and said, nope, freight elevators will do for now.
I had bad dreams about those, man. Besides the investigation part of it.
But yeah, I'm just the environment, the level design, the environment, and the fact that they are. This one feels a lot more like it's meant to be a location with contracts, or a location with which they can make new contracts go to. But that might be because the cooperative zones aren't there. That might be the reason. Because this patch will probably feel like there's a new location. That's it. It's got loads of contracts. There's lots to do and see. And obviously, there's a new mission giver to entertain you and things like that. But it's the amount of options there are and opportunity there is for them to add new content to those locations. Whether or not they do is what we've been sort of going over.
Yeah.
But the potential is there. Not necessarily now or anytime soon. Maybe when more things come in, that's when they'll go, remember the lovely new locations we added? We've got a load of new content there. And then they'll make another patch about that. Hopefully. We'll see. Because there's got to come a point where they stop adding new locations and circle back around and just start adding more content to go to the existing locations.
Right.
And that's when they focus on fixing the older stuff as well. That's my thoughts on what's going to happen. They get the locations in, then they circle back around once all of these are in. Maybe we get Nix at Christmas.
Oh my God! Don't even get people's hopes up, man. We're not getting Nix this year. It's just not gonna happen.
All right. New Year.
Yeah. Well, I feel a little different about these than I do about like a space station or a distribution center, where I feel like you could easily do like a cargo mission running there. With these, you do go inside and suddenly you feel like you're being dragged into a story almost. But I hope you're right. I hope that we see contracts somehow fit into these places that naturally have you showing up there throughout your playtime and maybe bumping up against other people.
So, I mean, there's like right now, once you've done the introduction mission, which is surface level, basically, you're in and out. Once you've done that, that's to give you that little, there's things to do here. But once you've done that, if you've done the Red Wind intro, hauling contracts open up to go just to the hangar. That's it. You don't need to go any deeper. You pick up cargo from the hangar and you're gone. And then there's the mercenary contracts from Eckhart as well to do this, that, and the other in the locations. They go a little bit deeper in, obviously, but if you've done the Red Wind intro and you do the Hokro agency intro, you've got some new hauling contracts to do. If you want to mix it up, go to different locations, it becomes an option.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I didn't even realize that the cargo contracts work like that. That is interesting, and I think that makes these feel less like, here we go again in the semantics, less like an event and more like a location or a destination where you can do multiple things. You were a big player of Star Wars Galaxies, right?
Oh, yes.
Does a location...
Go on.
We've talked about that. At some point, we're going to have an episode dedicated to that because the comparisons are interesting. But do you feel like this is similar in any way to any part of that game?
I don't think there's any comparison that you can make in this context. I think when it comes time to start talking about what CIG do with crafting and base building, that's the time to bring in the Star Wars Galaxies comparison, because as far as I care, nothing has ever come close to the resources, the crafting. Not so much the base building, because it was very rudimentary at the time, but you could make entire cities if you wanted to, decorate, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of the locations, it was very limited with Star Wars Galaxies. It was very laggy. It was very desyncy.
I see.
And it was very small. So you had things like the Death Watch bunker, and other theme park locations, as well as open world stuff like the Crate Graveyard. Doesn't even compare. You just can't.
Okay.
Yes, there was puzzle content in places like Death Watch bunker and the Corellian Corvette, but on the epic scale, and especially how detailed we are these days in terms of visual fidelity and environment, you can't really draw a comparison. Or I can't draw a comparison. Someone else might be able to, but
Somebody will find a way.
my own opinion is always. My own opinion is, when it comes to crafting and resource harvesting, that's where Star Wars Galaxies comes into the picture when it comes to talking about Star Citizen.
Okay. Let's turn then back to Destiny. You mentioned earlier Destiny 2 doing a very good job of setting up locations like this. On a scale of 0 to Destiny, how would you rate the delivery of this kind of space from CIG? I know the puzzles don't necessarily work and we don't have the full picture, so it's not entirely a straightforward comparison. But I think a lot of people are interested in, okay, these are new locations. All right, they sound a little different. They offer something new, but are they actually fun and good to get into?
So now I'm going to say that horrible, horrible word. We don't have instancing. So the design mentality of designing for an instance and designing for open world is very different. And even though they are down in locations that it's still open world, you can still stumble upon people or they can stumble upon you. It's still on the epic scale. If you like exploring locations, it's up there. It's a good solid 7. But in terms of the gameplay side of it, obviously when it comes to things like Destiny, the raids and dungeons, they are very carefully made,
right,
to be you or your party. Like, I am one of those crazy people that used to do solo dungeons in Destiny, and attempt solo flawless and things like that. And that very carefully designed for that sort of play to be possible. Whereas CIG, I wouldn't say they're inexperienced in that regard, but they've still got to find out what works within Star Citizen for these epic scale. It is a dungeon for all intents and purposes, but it's not an instanced dungeon. So they've still got to figure that out and how it plays out. And things like the mission distribution system that they brought in will help ameliorate the, it's just another location where, you're going to get PvP all the time. It's hundreds of locations. The chances are slim, but never nil.
Yeah.
But as you say yourself, you run Hathor and Lazarus just to be a loot goblin like me.
Love Hathor.
I very rarely encounter PvP, and normally, as I said, my PvP is mostly avoiding it. I fly in stealth. I don't get greedy. If I see what looks like a group, I'll pull out. If it's one person, I'll give it a whirl. They're probably better than me, and they're probably wearing Ninetales armor, so I'll shoot them anyway.
I mean, why wear it unless you don't want to get shot?
Every time. And they always press charges. It's like, you're wearing Ninetales at Hathor. What do you expect?
That's what Ninetales is known for, man. They bait people into crime and then they get them in trouble with the authorities.
And there's a new automatically press charges if timed out feature in 4.3. That's now a toggle in the options.
Yeah, I saw that. That was an interesting addition. What do you take of that?
I just think they should extend the timer personally, rather than put in that, because you might miss the name if you're downed or whatever. You might miss the name, or it runs out before they've run up and gone, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were a player. If that's what's going to happen, which, all right, granted, PTU is different. That has happened a couple of times on PTU to people. I got shot in Evocati, which shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But because they thought it was instanced, that's going to be the main problem, I think, with these locations. The only entry is through a self-land hangar. So people are going to assume that the entire thing is just instanced, much like that poor person did. But then they obviously, oh dear.
And you also don't know, like a lot of the situations I've heard of where people get shot is two people shoot each other, realize they're players, and then stop shooting. Because they just like, I mean, you're turning dark corners. Everything is like, there's sounds, there's music,
Everything's
there's
new.
Enemies. Yeah, so you're just shooting things that move because that's what we do. We like to shoot, and you make a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that will go in for PvP. And personally, like when it went to all waves, I enter my PvP mindset. And also, like engineering, that's going to be a fun one. Just for the length of the location of that particular wing and the different areas that you could do things, or people could do things to you, will make it very interesting if PvP is your thing, especially FPS. It's a pretty unique location. Unless outside of being outside, it's pretty unique. We don't have anything similar.
Yeah, it is a weird space. I'm sure you know it by the back of your hand, making maps for it at this point. I've only been through it fully once, and even then I didn't really complete what was supposed to be happening there. But yeah, these are wildly different from, I mean, especially if you're like, oh, well, underground facilities are supposed to replace the bunkers that we already know in the game. It's just like not even close. Not even in the same ballpark. They're not even in the same country in terms of the way that they're designed.
Absolutely not.
So I want to talk now about actually making those guides. What is the process that you have to go through to get into the game, experience the content? I think most people in this game have probably played enough to realize just how easy it is to not be able to make content because the game is constantly fighting you. What is the process you have to go through to figure all of that out so quickly to get it out to everybody else by the time we go to all waves?
So I have to fight the content for a start, and fight obscure patch notes. So, like, for example, the puzzles that I have assumed won't be a thing until 4.3.1. There's been no confirmation in any of the testing chats or in the patch notes that you can ignore these bits for now. That's just assumption only because they were so broken. And also, I try them every patch because there's been no confirmation. Every build that goes on, I try them again just to make sure. But when it comes to mapping, what I'll do first is like do a couple of run-throughs using Onyx as the example. I'll do the contracts. I'll run them through. Then if they put in the patch notes that the contracts have changed, I will recopy my account to PTU and do them all over again. When it comes to the mapping side of it, I will walk through the locations, recording everything, taking screenshots of certain things that need naming or whatever, or key points, all the way through. Normally about an hour. Oh, I say normally. For this, it was about an hour for engineering and an hour for research. and then I start mapping it out. If there's already holo map in game, that helps a lot with scale and getting kick started, like there was with engineering. Research, I still haven't started tackling, but at least there's a floor plan there that I can just go, right, at least I've got the floor plan, albeit top stacked down. It's not split in the map, but there's something there that can help with the scale and how to actually go about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guide, it's so like for this one, it's probably, as I said, I wasn't even joking. It's more like going to be a mini book, a companion guide with the main thing, because there's no puzzles. If the puzzles come in and work, then hey, there we go. We've got that. But it's going to be the contract side of it and then the maps. And then in 4.3.1, it'll be the puzzle side of it and whatever the next wing is. So it's going to end up probably being a 5-page guide this time. I really wish I hadn't set the precedent making maps for Pharaoh and Lazarus.
Man, yeah, that's a lot, dude. I gotta say, with running this one through specifically too, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But the most annoying part for me with these new locations is how you go in, you run a mission, and then the next objective is to leave and go to another location.
Now, my personal thought on this is that the local pickup contract tech is meant to be at these locations unless you've got a drop off. That's just the feeling I get, is much like you. Why would you fly away when you could just, you already have contact with your mission giver? If you don't need to take a physical item to drop off, why would you need to leave? That makes me think that, again, that new contracts in location tech that is coming in, or local pickup. I don't know whether they've pushed it to 4.3.1, but that's the only thing that makes logical sense to me as to why we have to fly away each time, even when you haven't got anything physical picked up. But yeah, if it's by design, then I need to have very strong words with Elliot next time I'm in Manchester.
Yeah. It doesn't even make sense narratively. Like the guy's like, okay, let's see what you got from this research, this investigation you did. He's like, okay, this is good data. Now leave and go to a different facility. I'm like, bro, I'm here. Why can't I just go further down?
I can kind of understand it if that's what the narrative said. Oh, so in this particular location, but it doesn't. It's
right. They're all the
copy
same
contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe they do it so that like everybody is constantly moving around and you don't end up with like places that people start stacking up. But honestly, it seems like if it was instanced, then it would be simple as just being like, okay, do the contract one after the other, because you never need to leave. Nobody's ever else going to show up there.
And also, I have spent a great deal of time in the same Onyx facility, and I haven't seen anybody else. So obviously when I'm doing the mapping thing or just running through, I'll log out. And when you log back in, you log in the location.
Yeah.
Never see anybody. And this is on the Hurston DGS that's got like 50 plus people on. Haven't seen anybody. But when I was flying away and going back, then I was bumping into people. Almost as if me logging into or people logging in at the location blocks that location from being distributed by the contract system. That's just the sense that I got, but we don't know the machinations of the contract broker.
Yeah, I'm still so like I'm working a video. By the time this podcast is out, it will be up, and it'll probably be outdated because we're still learning so much as we go. Even now, I'm learning more from this show. Yeah, that's oh, you got to make a choice. But I'm working on this video, and I'm trying so hard to be balanced in my understanding of how risky it is to do these places. But I'm like you, I have just not run into people. I see people making reports that like, oh, there are people who are camping elevators and they're killing anybody who goes about and all this stuff. And I'm like, I have not found anybody else in these locations.
Experiences may vary.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm going to put all the disclaimers out there. But you also saying something like that. I've talked to many other people who are taking part in these and they don't run into problems like that.
That is specifically logging in at the location. I've never bumped into one. And that's for hours on end being in the same location.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, as I said, I mostly live on PTU, so I have the game log. I've got that tail followed, so I can see server errors, DGS changes, things like that. The only activity I see is my own. There's no like actor stall events or anything like that. No ship damage in anything at all, and physically not bumping into anyone, which is the point of the distribution thing. But at the same time, it just feels weird, especially if I do that contract, I leave the location. When I go to the next location, I might end up bumping into someone. It's just odd.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's nice to see this stuff happening because it feels like they should be getting some good data on understanding how all this stuff works. And that, to me, does feel like forward progress. These locations feel like some legitimate forward progress on understanding how gameplay spaces in Star Citizen work. And that's the best thing they could be doing right now. Because we know everything else is... Last question about the guides you were making. Does making them, you say that you spend a lot of time in PTU and that's generally all you play. Does it kind of ruin the content doing all of the obsessive cataloging of it at the first drop?
No. If anything, it makes it easier.
Okay.
As soon as I get to live, I know what I'm doing. I can run through my friends who are less engaged with Star Citizen. I can run them through, no problem. Then get them what they want to do.
Dang, they've got a personal guide guy. That's pretty nice.
They've got the Sherpa.
Yeah, dude. They've got the OG guide maker. That's pretty cool. All right. Let's talk about the game at large. Kind of final topic for the day. Playability. Year of playability. I've talked to many people about this on the podcast. We've seen much commentary about this. Many people will forget the other side of playability that CIG is clearly focusing on and think it's just the year of stability. But overall, given the things that they've talked about doing this year, do you feel like they are succeeding in their goals? Are they making the game more playable? Is it feeling better to you, or are they stagnating?
By their definition, yes, they are succeeding very well. Because this is now... I know this irritates people when I say it in like Spectrum chats and things like that, but
you say things in Spectrum chats?
The year of testing chat, but the year of playability, as defined by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, is not what the community has then adopted as playability. It's what was in that letter. Stability, performance, content. That's playability to CIG. Whether you think that's right or wrong in terms of the definition of playability, doesn't matter. That's their definition. And to be fair, they've delivered. Server stability, absolutely fine for the most part. We had a little dodgy few weeks with Hathor coming in with the laser.
Oh, God, yeah.
Performance, again. Performance-wise, servers do really well, even with the resource drive running. The lowest I saw was 7 on server FPS. Obviously, that does have an impact on NPCs and things like that. The actual content side of it, they've delivered a lot of content. It might not all work great, but they've delivered a lot of it. So, by their definition of it, yes, they have.
It's just this serving people soggy cereal and uncooked pancakes and being like, what do you mean the food's there?
I mean, yes, they have. But as far as I'm concerned, I knew it was going to be like this pretty much. They were just going to march through month to month, churning out content based on contracts, stuff that's already in game. We've had some surprises of things that technically didn't need to happen in the year of playability as defined, like the weather. We now have snow that has actual snowflakes and doesn't sound like rain anymore on PTU. And the rain, the storms, the stuff with Lazarus that brought in the distortion, the radiation, which gives that little bit of hopium for solar flares, because that's what they were waiting for, as well as obviously being meshing friendly. So, yeah, they have, by their definition.
Okay. Now, what's the player's definition that you think they are failing on, according to the players?
Let's not get into that quagmire of what each subsection of the Star Citizen community, because Reddit could say one thing is playability, Twitter could say another, Discord servers could say something entirely different. It's a very personal and emotive thing, playability, I've found, rather than a technical thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I just go by CIG's definition. CIG like to define words differently, like feature complete and polish.
Oh boy. Squadron. Always.
Always the card.
I do think that, yeah, there it is. The radiation is also a feature. Like
yeah.
It's like a small feature that's coming in, and I am annoyed as anybody. I mean, that's my whole thing, was covering feature development in this game. So it's been a little bit of a rough year finding new things to cover is consistently, but I do appreciate that some of those kinds of features like radiation are still getting to come in and make the content a little more deep than it would have been if they had dropped it in like they do every other year.
Yeah, it's a really interesting mix. Like when we get these little things in, and again with the NPC dropships coming back in, but only in Pyro. That's another thing that irritates me. Which makes me think that maybe the fact that Stanton isn't getting all this new stuff is because it's all old planet tech, and they're going to do that first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
with V5,
so.
Hopefully. But yeah, the shut down the towers thing and the NPC gun dropships. Yes, all right, we've had them before, or the dropships anyway.
They were
and
so
the fly
bad.
away and the fly in.
They were so bad.
They were horrible. They were terrible. If you never experienced it at bunkers, then
it was so fun. Ships would just be like floating red.
Oh, there's the old settlements as well, where they used to get the they say old, it's not even that old. The Cutty Black reinforcement.
Yeah, exactly. At the derelict settlements at Stanton.
And they just and you could just shoot them with a P6 through the glass because they were just hovering.
They weren't very tactical.
No. But yeah, it's interesting to see that they're still adding in things like that. But then we go back to the whole making the trailers about that one specific thing, about the event, the activity, or whatever the marquee part of the patch is. And then all of these little things slip in that people pay no mind to. And then they say, well, they're not doing anything but these events. But they are. They actually are. Just don't notice because they don't make a song and dance about them.
Yeah. We can't pay attention to a lot of stuff at once. It comes with the reading thing, you know? Speaking of features, since we're on that topic, close things out. What are a couple of features that you think they could focus on this year to really draw players back in, or that you think are most important to the widest selection of players?
Honestly, I I'm going to be a terrible guest. I have no idea. Again,
You're missing the easy one, man.
It's an individualistic thing. Some people are so fickle about one feature that they really want. And then you get the little camps of, oh, well, this feature would bring me back. This feature would bring me back. Have they done this feature yet? I honestly don't know what would bring a large number of backers back, or even new backers at this point.
You're not wrong.
But I'm here for the ride.
Yeah, I think you're not wrong. It's just general flow of features that people are looking for. The easy one, in my opinion, is engineering. I think people just want to experiment with that. But there are also some people who I think are going to want to slam their head against their desk when they see that it's coming in.
There are people that are going to hate engineering as much as there are people that really want it in.
Yeah.
Hello.
Beauty of games.
I don't mind fire, but the whole engineering thing doesn't appeal to me whatsoever. Salvaging does.
I would like mining missions.
Yeah. Didn't we had mining missions before?
No.
I don't know. I've never been Drake only released a mining ship this year, so
right. Of course. Does Hurston support mining? Are you allowed to do that? Do they
obviously.
let you? Yeah. Okay. Never know.
Yes, it's all for the greater gold and purple empire.
Yeah, I guess it is
black and yellow. Dangerous
labor, so they need to find some bodies to do it for them.
Oh, especially overcharging rocks. I have discovered this. I stick to my salvaging.
Overcharging rocks is a great way to die. It's very fun and exciting, and it feels productive at times. If you have a friend there to collect the rocks after you're done.
Obviously.
All right, man. Thank you so much for talking with me about this. This has been a great look at the new locations, the new ship, just 4.3 in general. Any last feelings you have about it that you want to finish up on, this patch overall or the lead up to 4.3.1 or how they're delivering this?
Without knowing what is actually going to stay in 4.3 or what's going to come into 4.3 with the builds, we'll see what happens. But I am looking forward to the puzzle aspect of it, even though I think I've already got it all figured out. I'm still looking forward to it, but I like puzzles. I like investigation. Bring it on.
Actually, you just reminded me. I have one last question about the underground facilities. Many people don't like PvP, but there's still a lot of PvE combat in these locations. Do you think that's going to be a problem for a lot of folks because generally the dislike is that everything's combat focused?
Yeah. So, there's a lot of elite NPCs, and normally that would be a bit of a meme, but these ones have all got vault weapons, and they hurt.
Yeah.
The elite snipers, I have been wearing nothing but heavy armor. Instant tier 3. They sting. There are also looters, or whatever the game flavor calls them, but there are mercenaries and looters in the locations. But there's also a hell of a lot of doggos, spicy doggos at that.
Oh yeah,
I might add.
spicy doggos. Yeah, they're seasoned.
But it's not too bad. It comes in waves, so there's rest areas where you'll have no combat engagement at all from NPCs, and then you'll have a lot to deal with. It's very abusive that way. It'll calm you down, relax you, lull you into a false sense of security. Then wham, 100 dogs just appear. Not literally, but it does feel like it in the moment, especially if you're running through the location for the first time and you don't know where you can run and hide. Let me tell you, when you get to the dog area, the tables. Just jump up on the tables.
Yeah. I just piled myself into the back of a hallway and screamed and pulled the trigger. I'm glad I had an F-55 because you need big clips. Make sure you bring a lot of ammo, folks. Magazines, not clips.
So yeah, on loadout front, just for dealing with the NPCs, personally, I take a P8 SMG and a P6.
Oh, a man of culture.
Bearing all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big P8 guy. P8, LH86, or LH... Yeah, LH56? 86? Oh my god, now I'm forgetting the name. LH86, I'm pretty sure. And, you know, wild card, whatever you want to throw in there afterward. But yeah, I love the P8. That's my main. Good choice. All right, man. Thank you so much again for joining me on this one. One last time, if you want to let the folks know where they can find your lovely guides and annoy you about making new guides as quickly as possible before they are able to get into the PTU, please do so.
Thank you very much for having me again. As always, it's been entertaining, and I shall be quick so you can get some sleep. You can find me at MrKraken on YouTube for my video guide stuff and bug workarounds and things like that. As for my one-page or now companion guides, apparently, I upload those to the RSI Community Hub, MrKraken there, but you can always get the links from Twitter, Real MrKraken, or my Discord, which, again, discord.gg/MrKraken.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much again for joining me. And folks, thank you all for being here. It is lovely getting to do this podcast every week and talk about space games and stuff. If you would like to learn more about this, like I said, I've released a video that's going over this event, at least preliminarily. It's probably going to need an update or two over the next month, but it should give you somewhat of an introduction to these places. Please check out our friend MrKraken, where you can find him. And, sir, I hope you get a chance to go and play some Battlefield 6 after this.
Oh, I will.
Cool. Go enjoy that.
Take it easy, man. Thanks for having me.
And everybody else, thank you so much. I'll see you next week.